This video is for the Divide New York group. So you know, New York State is already divided. It's divided into counties, and it was made that way over 200 years ago by our founding fathers, 250 years ago. The reason why it was is over in England, that's where the county level of government started out. So it's an 800 to 1,000-year-old process that has worked flawlessly if it's run properly. But the problem is ignorance is the people. Apathy, people are afraid of law, and they're afraid to learn things that are new, and the attorneys are ignorant of the law because they're brainwashed by the government-controlled schools. So Scalia said in 1992, the grand jury is solely in the hands of the people, serving as a buffer between the people and the government. This is why years ago, the county grand jury in downstate New York removed the corrupt Irish mob that were elected as police chiefs, senators, judges, district attorneys, mayors. They ran New York State government from the Irish mob. So what the grand jury did, and the grand jury comprises of everyday citizens. You don't know that, but that's what the grand jury is. It's a randomly selected group in every county, selected by, supposed to be by we the people, but now it's selected by the government. But when you get on the grand jury, you have all sorts of power. But you don't know that. So when you get on the grand jury, the government basically abuses you by saying, well, we need this person indicted, and that person indicted, when realistically you have a right to judge the law in itself, question whoever you want, subpoena whoever you want. And according to New York State Constitution, Article 6, the grand jury has a right to investigate public offices and write reports. This is actually in my YouTube channel. Look under David Bongello. I have one that talks about the grand jury can nullify laws. Now, the grand jury also uses common law, which is common sense from the Magna Carta. So our legal system is devised as the common law, which is unwritten, uncodified law inspired by natural reason. That's from UB Law Library. I actually found that in the dictionary, American Jurisprudence. When I went there myself, that's actually in that grand jury video in my videos here. Well, if you get on a grand jury, what we should do, I mean, because we're already divided by the county, and the county level of government is independent of the state. So the county level of government can say, no, we don't have to do that. But they won't do it because your local officials, especially your fake Republicans, say, well, we can't do that. The state law says that. Well, that's why they're elected. Why would they be elected if, why be there when we just elect a governor and they can rule us like a king, right? Well, there's a reason why they're elected, because they represent and protect your rights. But the reason why they tell you that we have to follow these laws, because the brainwashed attorneys are telling them, and they get money from the state. So our local county sheriff here, Jim Votor, back 5-6 years ago, told me, well, Dave, the governor of the state gives me $55 million a year to run the sheriff's department. So if I go against them, I don't get that money. So your officials are being extorted by the state to listen to state laws. So it has nothing to do with the state. It's just your officials. It's all local. But you on a grand jury, once you get impaneled, your friends on a grand jury, anything else, they can say, hey, we're going to investigate this. We're going to subpoena the governor for wanting to make gas stoves illegal. We're going to subpoena for these windmills that are a waste of money. What happened to COVID, the vaccine, the early treatment not being told. The grand jury can fix all this and then indict people or write reports and tell the government we're not doing this. There was even proof on an Our County Jail website that the grand jury somebody sent a complaint to the grand jury about the living conditions of the jail. The grand jury investigated, wrote a report, and told the county government to fix it, and they had to fix it. Can you imagine the level of government so functional? Because our founding fathers knew, they understood from thousands of years of evolution of government what worked and what didn't work. The grand jury and the trial jury system is part of the republic, not a democracy. A democracy is ruled by a majority, where the minority have no rights. And we're being in the Republican minority, we have no rights. So if we're a republic, we use a small group of people on the grand jury or trial jury to say no and not guilty, or no, we're not indicting this person because we have the right to judge with our heart what is good and what is bad. So if they say, well, this written law says these bullets in this magazine are illegal, you as a grand jury can say, no, that law is wrong, so we're not indicting them. But even if the person is indicted, you can actually say, no, not guilty. On a jury trial, that's called jury nullification, because jury nullification means use natural law that's mentioned in the Declaration of Independence to judge the law in itself. It's called laws of nature and nature's God. Read the Declaration of Independence. It's not statutes, codes, and rules written by bureaucrats. because our bureaucrats were never intended to be our masters. They're our servants. And we keep them in check with the republic, which is in the Bill of Rights, as the grand jury, trial jury, and the common law system, which is common sense law. Because all law can't be written. It's all about common sense. Good versus evil. We have to start grand jury associations because we found they existed 100 plus years ago, but you don't know that. So a purpose of the associations in your county, I would come do a presentation. You would set up a grand jury association and you'd be outside the courthouse or where the grand jury is and pass out brochures. Look at this, your power as a grand jurist, and educate other people about it. As a trial jury, too, the nullify bad law. So as a grand jury, trial jury, you can fix everything, and the grand jury can tell the sheriff what to do and enforce the law. And so why divide the state when this law already exists? See how simple it is? It's very, very simple, but people are afraid. I've studied this stuff for 10 years. I have attorneys that agree with me. I have judges. In my video on my YouTube channel is me interviewing Judge Murphy about in Niagara County Supreme Court judge. He agreed with me. So it's right. But you're being on these paths. Oh, let's divide this. Let's protest here. Write letters there. Guess what? It was never intended to fix that way. Our founding fathers were brilliant. But people are afraid to look at the truth in what's out there. Thanks for listening. You can reach out to me, text me, message me here in the YouTube channel link, and I'll reach out to you. Thanks for listening.